All right, seventh graders. This announcement and video is for the seventh grade class, the ones that are Mr. Lugo, Mr. Pap, and going to be eighth graders next year. It is your time. I have a couple of things to talk about. One, I'm going to talk real quickly about Washington, D.C. Two, I'm going to talk about the ASB elections for the 2020-2021 year. First of all, as far as Washington, D.C. is concerned for next year, we are still planning on going. So a lot of people are emailing me and saying, how are we going to do it because of what's going on? The plan is we're not going to go in February, but on the first week of school, I will get together with all the eighth graders and we will talk about the trip for next year. But the trip for next year will be in June. So we will push it out and not go in February like what we always do. And we will go in June on the Saturday or Sunday right after we graduate and go through promotion in Great America. And then we'll get on a plane for those that would like to go and go to Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. That way, we'll still be able to do the trip and review everything you've learned from eighth grade. So Mr. Lugo and I are very excited about this and a little change. It'll give us a chance to do maybe a baseball game, and hopefully everything's running by next summer when we do go. So that's for the Washington, D.C., so you have plenty of time to think about that. All right, seventh graders, future eighth graders, here's the other one. If you want to run for ASB office, that means you want to run for president, vice president, secretary, intramural coordinator, okay? Or if you want to be the secretary, all those 5 positions. This is your time to put your name in the hat and get ready to run. We're going to have it in May. The first thing I want to remind you as you're doing this is the first thing is you should have, just a reminder, I'm sure you all do, but make sure you've had good behavior. Make sure that you have your grades are up, C average at least. And I think we have a 2.5, but at least a C average. And of course, that you are willing to do some hard work around school and put in a lot of hours. Because as you know, at Cunha, the ASB officers work really hard to set up everything at school. Also, let us know this year when we're doing our leadership interviews, if you like doing videos and you're good at videos and you like CCN and things like that, and you think that would be something you might be interested in, different than ASB, please let us know in the next couple weeks as the current officers are going to start to go through an interview process for leadership. Let us know. All right, now back to the big 5 jobs. First of all, president. Now, if you're running for president, that means you are in charge of the leadership class. You will run the class. You will put people in different committees. You will work with all the different officers. You will set the agendas for all the student council meetings. So you will be the head of the school and the ASB. And usually you have about a $12,000 budget that you have to work with and decide what to do for the year. So that's president. You got a lot of responsibility. The next job is vice president. Vice president, of course, is exactly what it is supposed to be. Your job is to take the place of the president if they're gone for a week, if they're sick. If for some reason they're on a field trip or anything like that, you take over the role and you need to work well with the president and take over. So that's the vice president job. The other position that you can run for is treasurer. Now remember, at this school, the treasurer actually does deal with money. You will be in charge of counting the money at all the dances and all the rosegrams and the candygrams and things like that. You will have to go into the office and sit down with the office staff and make sure everything's done correctly and set up for the bank. So treasurer is a really important job. You will be responsible for receipts for students and things like that to make sure that students and leadership get their money back and student council funds and DJs and things like that get paid for. So that's the treasurer. The next job is secretary. Secretary is just like Alexander Hamilton. You will be taking a lot of notes. So you will be responsible for ASB notes, writing, recording everything that happens, kind of like James Madison and the Constitutional Convention. You'll learn all this next year, everyone. And you will have that job of recording. You will also sit down with the president, set agendas, type them up, any type of big lip sync, big activities, you will be the one in charge of making sure everything is documented, written down, and that we have the proper forms that we need for all kind of activities. So that's the secretary. And of course, the last job is extremely important, and that is the intramural coordinator. Intramural coordinator sets all the lunchtime activities from kickball to softball. We never got to do that this year. Hopefully next year we do. To capture the flag, to Greek dodgeball, to volley, whatever sport you want to do, soccer, whatever sport you want to do at lunch. That is your job, to set it up, make a schedule so that the classes play one another and that everyone doesn't play the same team. But if you're Miss O'Connor Brown, that you don't play Mr. Murray every week, but one day you play Miss Moat, and everything is done fairly and the fields are set up and you set the referees up and you're in charge of lunchtime intramurals. All right, so those are the jobs. Now, once you decide that you want to run for one of these jobs, then your next thing to do is this week, because this announcement will come out on Monday. You need by this Friday, you need to let the counselors, Miss Myrick and Miss Lee, send an attachment to both, send it to both of them. So put down Miss Lee, Miss Myrick, and Miss Wilhelms might be great too. You add Miss Wilhelms, and you can even put Mr. Cox on it. All four of us. And what you want to do is you want to send us an email telling us what position you would like to run for. So say, hi, my name is John Jacobs and I would like to run for vice president. So you just let us know what position you want to run. So send us an email by May 8th. Now, after that, the other thing that you want to do, let's go to the next big date. Once you have that date and we have your names, the next week, the week by May 15th, you have to send a 1-minute video. Basically your speech. You don't have to go to the event center in front of 600 students. You get to make a video and tell all your skills and strengths and ideas you have and what your role will be for this job. So you're going to give your 1-minute campaign speech for your job. All right, so that will be by May 15th. So you will send that. You will send that video to, once again, the counselors, to Mr. Cox and the 3 counselors, and send the video, and we will set it up and put it on the announcements the next week. All right, so we got that date. So now we got May 8th, May 15th. Now, of course, we go to the next week. The next week, voting will take place. So on May 18th, the videos will come out. We'll set them all up, and students will have that week to vote. And of course, that will be done electronically through Cunha's web pages, and we will do a Google form, and you will be voting 6th and 7th graders only. The 8th graders will not vote. This is just the 6th and 7th graders will vote. So by that Friday, May 22nd, we will then have the final tallies, and we will know who the president is, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and intramural coordinator for the next year. All right, so that's our goal, is to get this all completed by May 22nd. All right, so here's our dates that we want to do, videos, dates. So once again, reminders, May 8th, let the counselors and Mr. Cox know you're running. May 15th, get the video done, your campaign, your 1-minute speech. And then we will vote and have it all done by May 22nd. If you have any questions, please email Miss Myrick, Miss Lee, or Mr. Cox, or Miss Wilhelms, and we will try to get back to you as quickly as possible. And once again, DC, we went in 9/11. I mean, we went in 2001, 2002. At 120 students that went. We are not going to stop going on this trip. We're just going to change the date. So prepare, tell your parents that we're going to go in June, right when we get out of school. All right? Everyone be safe, and looking forward to teaching you guys next year.